If you do take off from, oh my God, this is the other thing that is just annoying the hell out of me. The safety systems in this car are so badly tuned. When you're driving normally and you check the mirror, it says, keep your eyes on the road. And it's like, I'm trying to by actually using my mirrors. It's just got a good, solid feel to it, but still quite comfortable as well. Here's our condensed sine wave. Yeah, nice. It's just falling into all those divots nicely. So yeah, beautiful job, Subaru. G'day, I'm Paul. Subaru has a new Forester and they have finally ditched what was the world's worst hybrid system and replaced it with a hybrid system that they've worked with Toyota on. So keen to have a drive of this. By the way, we have just shot another massive medium SUV off-road test that this car was just involved in. We literally just got back from it, so it's still a little bit dirty. We've tried to clean it as much as we can, but keep an eye out for that. That'll go live in the next few days. So the hybrid Forester, it ditches the old sort of not very good hybrid system, replaces it here with the Toyota system, but importantly, it retains Subaru's permanent all-wheel drive system, and I'll go into a bit more detail on that when we go for a spin. This is the Sport Hybrid. It's one down from the top spec and it's priced at just under 55 grand. So not mega dollars. When you have a look at some of the other medium SUVs in this segment, they really have leapt up in price. This isn't overly outrageous, and there is a wilderness version of some of these Subaru products coming, which is like a more off-road focused setup. So excited to have a crack at that. Now, today we're going to do a detailed review of this. So if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you've got time codes on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. Now let's talk about the design. So this is kind of a Nardo grey colour here fitted to this one. It's bronze highlights on the wheels there that you can see front as well. This has an E-Boxer strong hybrid engine. I just love some of the Japanese names they come up with. It also has now LED headlights with adaptive LED lights. I've been using those over the past few days. They seem to work okay, but what I have found on a couple of occasions, as you're approaching a car and coming up next to it, it switches on the high beam before you've cleared the car. So what often happens is the high beam comes on and the driver that you're passing just gets this high beam in their mirror. So it's not a very well calibrated system and probably needs a little bit of work. You have a headlight washer there as well to blast any debris off the lights there when you give it a squirt, and then fog lights down the bottom there as well. Now around the side here you can see those bronze highlights on the wheels. I don't know, I sort of like it but don't necessarily love it, and more a road focused tyre here as well. It's not really a proper all-terrain, so that isn't going to do you too much justice if you do head off-road. Plastic wheel arch guards with a little bit of aero just there. E-Boxer badge on the side. You've got an indicator built into the wing mirror. You also have a 360 camera, so that's nestled under there. Glass roof, black roof rails there, privacy glass as well. And then come around to the back with me. Now around the back here, you've got Forester lettering along there, Subaru, E-Boxer there as well. It's funny, the new Outback is now basically this enormous SUV. It's so weird. The Outback always used to be a wagon. Got a bit more SUV-like, and the new Outback is a certified SUV, so it is really weird how they're positioning that sort of stuff. Forester still retains that sort of same SUV shape, and you've got a little exhaust pipe just down there. Now, the interesting thing is you have partial LED lights. A new car in 2025 to still have old-school globe technology, I mean, it is the height of cheapness, and I just don't know how Subaru thinks that that is okay. And I think just in general, some of the Japanese manufacturers, they just don't understand the onslaught of Chinese cars coming. You get a Chinese car today, you're spending this kind of money on it, you're getting plug-in hybrid drivetrains, you're getting full LED lights. And I know it's only something small, but it's a perception thing that if you have this sort of hotly glowing light here that isn't LED, it just really shows you that they haven't invested as much into this as they possibly should. So just something, a little side point there that I just wanted to point out. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you reckon about the new Forester? Do you think it looks good? Do you reckon they've done enough there with the design? Let me know what you reckon. So we're inside the Forester. We'll start off with the key. Here it is. You've got lock, unlock, boot, blank on the back, proximity key, and a push button start. Old school key as well, so they haven't updated that as part of this new generation car. So the interior, it's a big departure from where it was previously, although some elements kind of feel like they carry over. So this portrait display, we've seen that before in things like Outback. It does have a full display here ahead of the driver, but the rest of it actually feels quite nice and premium. So look at the price tag, it actually feels representative of what you're getting for that kind of money. In terms of your touch points, nice and soft there in the center and soft on the door as well. How soft are they? We've got our durometer. We've tested all the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Now, build quality, what's it like? We'll do our little shake test. All feels pretty good. And this is what the door slam sounds like. Now, let's talk infotainment. So 11.6 inch vertical display. Now, I have used this before in other Subaru models, and now that I've spent a few days with this car, this has the same flaws as the other models. It's just strangely laggy. Like, you just look at that, it sort of sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. It almost feels like there's a disconnected layer between, you know, you pushing it and it doing things. So that's a little bit annoying, but it does have satellite navigation built in. It's a TomTom system, so it means that if you don't want to have your phone paired, you don't need to. That will all sort of work as intended. But if you do want your smartphone connected, you've got both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This is what Apple CarPlay looks like. Again, super laggy as you sort of try and move between some of those menus. Like, I think it's sort of working okay now, but sometimes it doesn't like to work. But anyway, that is Apple CarPlay. I'll pop Android Auto on. So similar fashion to CarPlay, it's got that sort of vertical display, and then you've got all of those functions there. It comes standard with a 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Great sound system, and they've done well integrating that. Now, the screen ahead of the driver, this is pretty cool because I'm just going to pop Apple CarPlay back on. So CarPlay is back on now. Screen ahead of the driver actually shows you your maps display. If I bring that up just there. So if we have Waze open there, you can actually see it replicates what you're seeing on the screen ahead of the driver, which is cool. Not all cars do that, and the fact that that technology has been properly integrated here, I think, is great. The screen itself, 12.3 inches in size. There's a lot of customization there in terms of what you can get it to display. So pretty good setup, and I think they've done a good job with that integration with the infotainment system. It's just this could be significantly better than it is. On the parking front, disappointingly, you only have rear parking sensors, but you do get a 360 camera. I'll show you what that looks like. So there it is there, kind of a pointless display because you can't really see anything. So I'll pop it on the reverse view. So there it is there. Again, camera quality just isn't very impressive. It's quite low quality there, and you can see with the sun on it, it's a bit difficult to see what's going on. And then that's your display there for the reverse camera. And this is what the horn sounds like. Now, moving on to practicality and your connectivity options. I haven't seen an auxiliary port for quite some time, but you got one down there. 3 amp USB-C charging port, and then a USB-A charging port at a slower 2.4 amps. This is interesting. So you've got a wireless charging pad there, which is great. But if you put your phone on it and you drive, your phone just slides all over the place. So even though it's slightly grippy, it's fairly redundant, so that is pretty disappointing. That's something they should look at getting sorted. You've got a 12-volt outlet down here as well, 120 watt, and then just a little coin tray behind it. Decent storage there in the center console too, which is good. In terms of other storage, your glove box, reasonably sized there as well. Then you've got a Sunny's holder up the top here too. Worth pointing out as well that it's good to see they've actually got this little extension here as well. A lot of cars don't have that fitted, and you find that gap there sometimes gets in your eyes. So good to see they're at least thinking about that sort of stuff. Then on the comfort front, you have dual zone automatic climate control. One thing I did notice the other day that I just thought was completely bizarre, a function that you regularly access is the recycling for air if you're going through tunnels and stuff. To get to that, it's a 2-step process. So you've got to go in here, and then you've got to go up there to engage and disengage that. Should just be a button here. That is a frequently accessed thing, and I just don't know why you have to go through a set of menus to get to that. You'd much prefer to have that here, easily accessible, instead of burying it somewhere else. In addition to that, you have heated seats, no seat cooling, unfortunately, and no heated steering wheel either. You do get electric seat adjustment for the driver and front passengers, so you can go forwards and backwards. Your backrest can go forwards and backwards. You can lift the front of the seat, the back of the seat. You also have memory for the driver as well. And the seats, they are really comfortable. I've spent a lot of time in this car now, and I love the fact that they sort of hug you in nicely. There are no perforations though, so on a hot summer's day, you're going to stick to these. Which is disappointing. I really wish they would have just fitted some perforations to those. Steering offers both tilt and reach adjustment, and on our reach test, most of this stuff is easy to reach while you're driving. Now, second row, reasonable amount of knee room here. Toe room is pretty good. Headroom is great as well. You've got air vents here, another 2 USB ports, a C and an A. no other sort of little bins or anything, but you do get these pockets here with a divider in there for device storage. Center armrest as well with a couple of cup holders. I don't love the fact that you need to build your own seatbelt for the middle seat. It just seems bizarre. I don't know why they can't do what other manufacturers do, where the seatbelt is just built into the seat. Instead, you've got to pull it out from the roof there and then click it in. In terms of the window, does it go all the way down? So it's manual up and down. Oh, almost. Now let's talk about cargo space. One of the downsides to the e-Boxer strong hybrid is that you're robbed of cargo space beneath the cargo floor because that's where the battery is located. So it's around 1 kilowatt hour in capacity. Because this isn't the system that Toyota uses for their hybrids, where you have a motor located on the rear axle, you still have a little bit more space than you normally would, but it is sort of fairly compromised there, unfortunately. Show you what it looks like with our bag inside. So it's still a fairly reasonably sized space. You get a 12-volt outlet off to the side, some hooks as well, and then you can drop the second row using these buttons to give you a lot more space there as well. So not a bad setup, just slightly compromised beneath the cargo floor. Alrighty, we've just hit the road in the Forester hybrid. Now, this is a complete departure from previous generation of this car. The previous generation was like a mild hybrid, and it was even just a bad mild hybrid at that. So this is a proper hybrid system. For those that don't know, Subaru actually has a partnership with Toyota. Toyota has an equity stake in Subaru. So it means that Subaru has access to Toyota's hybrid systems, and they've got a version of that in this car, but it is a little bit different. So I'm going to run you through some of the technical details. This might bore you a little bit, but I'll just give you a high level overview of how it works. So under the bonnet here, Subaru has retained a 2.5 litre Boxer engine. So the Boxer engine is a horizontally opposed engine. It runs slightly different to what you'll find in other cars on the market that are inline or a V configuration. And it means that it has a bit of a unique rumble to it. They run this in a fuel efficient cycle, so the equivalent 2.5 litre in the non-hybrid Forester has more power, but the key difference is they mate this engine with 2 electric motors on the front axle. So one is called motor generator 1 and the other is called motor generator 2. Motor generator 1 is primarily a starter motor and also used to just sort of fire things up for the engine. It keeps it really nice and smooth when it does turn on. Motor generator 2 though is used to provide electric assistance to the drivetrain. So the internal combustion engine alone is something like 120 kilowatts of power, but it then mates with an electric motor that's 90 kilowatts. So that is adding in all of that extra oomph that you need. It also allows the vehicle to run entirely in electric mode at low speeds. Now, I have tried this several times now, and they claim that by pushing this EV mode button, it will run in electric mode. But every time I've pressed it, it just comes up with EV mode unavailable down there. I've never had that actually work. Now it's saying vehicle speed too high. It just seems like a completely redundant feature. But if you do take off from, oh my God, this is the other thing that is just annoying the hell out of me. The safety systems in this car are so badly tuned. So this one here that keeps telling me to keep my eyes on the road. When you're driving normally and just looking straight ahead and you check the mirror, it says, keep your eyes on the road. And it's like, I'm trying to by actually using my mirrors. It just keeps beeping. It is so annoying. So I'm going to turn that off now, along with the lane departure warning as well. So when you take off, it basically will run entirely in electric, and then you push the throttle a little bit harder, and then it switches the internal combustion engine on. So it's a really good system, well tuned, and feels pretty much like a RAV4 to drive. So there's no dramas there, and it doesn't feel weird in any way. And then down the bottom here as well, you've got a little reading that shows you whether it's the internal combustion engine or just the battery that's running the drivetrain. Also different to the Toyota setup, this actually has a driveline that runs from the engine down the center of the car to the back. Now that gives this car permanent all-wheel drive. It's not like the RAV4, which has an electric motor or motors on the front and one on the rear. This is entirely driven through that driveline for the rear axle. So unique setup, and it's meant to give Subaru its trademark off-road ability. But as you'll see in our off-road test when that goes live, it's definitely not the case. They've completely ruined this vehicle's ability off-road compared to the last generation model, which is pretty disappointing given that was the trademark feature of the Forester, and it really did set it apart from other vehicles in the segment. One of the other downsides as well of running a hybrid system in this configuration with the driveline down the centre of the car is that it uses more fuel than the equivalent hybrid system in a RAV4. So Subaru claims a combined average of around 6 litres per 100 Ks, but we're currently sitting on 6.8 with predominantly highway driving. So it is close to the official figure, but ultimately it's not anywhere near close to what Toyota claims with the RAV4, which is around 5 litres per 100 Ks. Now, what does all that feel like behind the wheel? If you give it a stab, it all sort of responds pretty quickly. It doesn't sort of change your world in terms of the acceleration pace. Like it's brisk, but not amazing. And unfortunately, that is just down to the fact that it doesn't really have the added addition of a second electric motor. You're just running one electric motor there, and there's only so much you can cram through it, but it's sort of fast enough the way that it works. There isn't a great deal of detail on the gearbox, but basically it doesn't use the CVT that you're going to find in the regular Forester. It actually uses an electronic CVT, which is effectively a system that uses a planetary gear set and manipulates those two motors that I mentioned earlier to then give you the feeling of a CVT. So not really a CVT, but feels like it's when you hit the throttle. It sort of flares up, revs, and gets the engine in its optimum power and torque band. So before we get to our sine waves, I'll talk about the ride in general. Subaru's done a great job with the ride. It really just wafts along pleasantly around town. Speed humps and stuff like that, just very comfortable. They've done a good job of not making it too sporty, but also not making it too soft. So excellent job there on the tuning. We've got our sine waves coming up here. We normally do these at 130 Ks an hour, and this gives us an idea of what body control is like when the speed picks up. So this is simulating a condition where you're out in the country and you've hit a set of consecutive sine waves at highway speeds. So let's get that up to 130, see what body control's like there. Excellent, that feels really good. Done a fantastic job with that. So they had to retune the ride with this updated hybrid drivetrain because the battery, 1 kilowatt hour in size, is bigger than what they used to have, and it's changed the weight of the vehicle, but still feels really quite nice behind the wheel. They've also changed the steering too, so I quite like the way that feels. So we've got a nice sort of feedback to it. Now, bumpy road time, so we do this at 90 Ks an hour. Gives us a good indication of what the ride is like on this bumpy, dodgy stretch of road. This feels fantastic. Done such a good job with this. It's just got a good, solid feel to it, but still quite comfortable as well. Here's our condensed sine wave. Yeah, nice. It's just falling into all those divots nicely. So yeah, beautiful job, Subaru. Now, in addition to your off-road modes, you've got two of those to pick from. You have sport and normal mode here on the steering wheel. I'm going to pop this into sport mode. We'll go for we'll drive around the track here. It is extremely wet out there, unfortunately, so it's not going to be overly fast lap, but I just want to see what the vehicle's dynamics are like when the speed picks up. The road surface here when it's wet is, it just has no traction whatsoever, so I'm going to be a little careful with that. But symmetrical all-wheel drive should give us the feedback we need behind the wheel. So the body set's nice and flat through these corners. So it feels fairly well composed. And then when you lean into the throttle, you can feel it distributing the torque as required around the chassis there. The steering feels great as well. They've done a good job of blending brake pedal with regen. So the harder you press the brake pedal, the more regen you're going to get. You can see that represented off to the side there. And it's just a really progressive blend. You don't feel like it's going too hard or too soft with it, which is good. And it sort of picks up speed fairly well. In that sport mode, it keeps everything nice and peaked, so you're getting optimum response out of that package. Yeah, look, it feels good. We can't go too fast. It is just way too slippery out here at the moment. But just based on what I'm feeling now, this feels every bit of Subaru, which is great. They haven't lost any of that character or feel that you get behind the wheel with the sportier Forester. Now let's talk road noise. So it's actually not too bad inside the car. On coarse chip roads, you get a little bit of noise inside the cabin. I also noticed a bit of noise coming into the cabin through the roof in tunnels and stuff when you got trucks next to you, but not the end of the world, sort of a fairly quiet place to be. On the visibility front, I can see clearly down the front of the car there. Wing mirrors are nice and big too. Unfortunately, there's no head-up display, so you sort of miss out on some of those little features, and you do get these flashing lights that come up ahead of the driver when you have cruise control running to give you an indication of whether you have a car coming up and whether you're also leaving your lane as well. Now let's talk about the semi-autonomous systems. We'll test out the lane support guidance here on the bowl with the 3 outer lanes. And we'll do that at 70 k's an hour. So let's get that set up. And then you can see the steering wheel goes green up the top there when that's running. So we'll just see how well it holds itself in the lane here, and then we'll use the next 2 lanes as well. Alrighty, so first lane is pretty good, fairly central. Jump over to the next one. Alright, there we go, steering wheel is green. Actually pretty reasonable as well. All right, and last lane over. Give that a shot. Okay, wait for that to go green. No, it's not liking it up here. Yeah, it doesn't like it up here. All right, so that's a pass. There we go, it's gone green. Let's see what happens. Wait for that to correct itself. There we go. It's actually holding itself in the lane there. Doing a reasonably good job. A little too far over to the left, but it actually works. So, yeah, it's pretty impressive there for the first 2 lanes and not too bad for the 3rd lane. Okay, time to do a little bit of performance testing. Put that into sport. We're going to go from 0 all the way through to 120 so we can see what our 80 to 120 overtaking time is like, and you can compare this to last Forester as well. All right, here we go. Really doesn't feel too bad off the line there. There's 60, 80, 100, and 120. All right. Let's see what that looks like. We'll just come to a stop over here. Okay, so that is 0 to 100 in 9.3 seconds and 80 to 120 in 6.95. So not exactly amazing. I mean, it's pretty sluggish compared to other hybrids on the market. So it's probably a little bit of work they can do there. But again, that is the limitation of having access to just one electric motor as opposed to 2 like Toyota does. Okay, we're going to do a stop from 100 k's an hour now. It is very wet out there, so this stopping distance won't be amazing, but it is what it is. So here we go. In a small eternity with a lot of noise coming from the ABS system. Okay, so 100 to 0. 4.36 seconds and 59.83 metres. I will caveat this by saying that this isn't the normal road that we do our stopping on, and it's wet. So what I'll also do is just overlay a number that we get from our regular stopping spot, just so we can compare those to make sure there isn't a wild difference there. But that is a very long stopping distance if that is what it's going to be in the wet, but we'll wait and see. Now, how quickly does it go in reverse? Here we go. It's 49 kilometres an hour. Okay, so Subaru Forester, what do we think? To be honest, a little bit disappointed by this. I thought this was really going to turn it around for Subaru. Subaru's sales in Australia have been declining. They did have a little blip there for a short period, but they have been on the decline over the past sort of 6 years or so. And this should have been the car that turned it around for them, but they've gone with a pretty lackluster hybrid system. It doesn't really have a great deal of punch. It's not overly efficient. It's not very good off-road, which was their USP to begin with. The infotainment stuff is a little bit frustrating, and so is the driver distraction monitor that switches on every single time you start the car. So all of those things together really make this a purchase that isn't overly compelling. It's grown in price as well, and if you have a look at what else you can get for that kind of money, like I said in the intro, the Chinese brands that are coming to Australia are absolutely going to kill brands like Subaru if they don't innovate, and I think that this probably just needs a little bit more work. It's fine for what it is, but there are better buys in this segment. So let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. Do you like this? Are you going to buy one? Do you think it is as bad as I've made it out to be? I'm keen for your feedback. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. But till next time, take it easy.